Okay, I got asked a good one. Dennis Johnson versus Norm Nixon. Oh, and I remember these two. It was interesting because a lot of people who didn't get to see Dennis Johnson when he won the Finals MVP for the Sonics in '79, before he clashed with Lenny Wilkins and got traded to Phoenix. But he was a guy that he was one of those guys before Dennis Rodman, before Ricky Henderson, before Deion Sanders, the kind of guy that if you had on your team, you were gonna win because he brought that extra. He just carried that with him. Now, um, putting this in perspective, um, Norm Nixon was tough. He wasn't worried about magic. They were running a double guard in LA actually when you think about it, which is kind of like what Detroit took on, except they had a big man with Kareem, which you just can't. You can do that when you have a Kareem. Wasn't like they were going to run it all the way through with small ball, but Norm was a prototypical point guard, and he was tough. If you go by the first 4 or 5 years of comparing them stat wise, Norm outscored him and out assisted him. But Dennis Johnson was a better defensive player and he was better on the boards. It's what the thing that really separates the two is because obviously when you go to the LA Clippers, that's like going to Saudi Arabia. And if you get a chance to go from Phoenix to the Boston Celtics, that's from the outhouse to the penthouse. So quite naturally, you fit in really good. But Dennis Johnson was, and Larry Bird called him his best teammate. He was a tough, reliable dude. It's just a matter where he was and the circumstances. So anyway, having said all that and putting everything in perspective and whatnot, looking at their careers, um, DJ gets the edge overall because he was a better defender and he led the teams more. Norm Nixon had a great situation with the Lakers, but let's be realistic. There was only room for one PG in LA, and his name was Magic Johnson, a guy who changed the course of basketball. See, it's kind of like a situation where you just happen to play alongside of somebody who was just a tier better than you. In any normal circumstances, you would be good and you would have been held in acclaim, but you played with the guy who came around the same time as you who just was on another level. And it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard, you know. It's kind of like being Jermaine Jackson and you're really good. You bad. But then your brother happens to be Michael. Now, Norm Nixon ain't quite Jermaine Jackson, but I'd probably say better than Marlon and close to Randy. But you get what I'm going at with this. You can't possibly, when you got that person that's got that kind of it, you're going to get lost in the sauce. So anyway, Dennis Johnson teamed up wherever he went. He brought, he played 4 more years than Norm Nixon, but let's keep it 100. The Clippers in the 80s ain't like the Clippers now. They stunk back then. One thing about David Stern, from Larry O'Brien to David Stern's NBA, if you were in Saudi Arabia, there was no TV time. You were going to be on super tape delay. If you didn't have a good newspaper route or you didn't know nobody who lived there and you stunk, you weren't going to be heard from. People knew some of your players, yeah. But that's just like being in a whole nother time zone, far, far away. So Dennis Johnson gets the edge over him. But it was kind of close. If we would go by the first 4 or 5 years, because Norm held up with him far as points and assists. But Dennis Johnson was better on the boards, better defender. And I think that, he massaged ego really well. Because, what he went through in Seattle to playing with Phoenix and then going to Boston with the big three with Bird, McHale, and Parrish. So being able to fit in, and I think that's one of the things. There's a couple of factors. And he got into the Hall of Fame. But Norm Nixon was good, though. Don't get it twisted. But anyway, let me know what you think. Who you got out of Dennis Johnson versus Norm Nixon? A great request. Please hit like, subscribe, welcome thoughts, comments, and I do respond. Thank you. Wash your hands. Keep your mind clear. Watch out for another shit if you like, and hit that membership, because when you do requests like this come true, stay safe, stay blessed, stay woke, stay free. I'm out. Peace.